Nothing new.
Mayor, members of council, thank you for the opportunity to address you this evening. I'm not here to speak in advocacy for any one of you. I'm actually here to speak in advocacy on all of your behalves. It wasn't that long ago that I sat among you, among several of you on this dais, and it was truly an honor and a privilege to serve not only the Citizens Award 4, but the city of Thornton as a whole. As all of you know, it's important to remember that we on the council serve the entire city as a team. When we traveled to Washington, D.C. all those years, we lobbied as a team, often impressing and more accurately overwhelming our hosts with our numbers, which served as the measure of our resolve on issues important to the city. There was an understanding that our collective voice was stronger than any of our individual voices. Our strength in those numbers was derived from the broad foundation of unique experience that each member of council contributed to the group, experience that provided perspective that enhanced our decision-making. I sincerely appreciated the individual perspective that each member of my council offered. It made me a better councilman. In my time on council, it never occurred to me that because I was employed by a heavy highway construction firm, I should be excluded or recuse myself from discussions or votes that might involve construction activities or development elements. Quite the opposite. I firmly believe that my background contributed strongly to my appointment on the E470 Highway Authority Board and allowed me to advocate successfully on behalf of Thornton to get the E470 Quebec interchange constructed. Similarly, I don't recall a time when my wardmate Eric Tade, who also happens to serve as Denver Fire Chief, was asked to recuse himself from discussions or votes pertaining to our negotiations with our brave men and women in the Thornton Fire Department. On the contrary, I believe his experience and contributions were invaluable during those processes. The thought never crossed my mind that as small business owners, Councilmember Vigil or Mayor Williams should exclude from any proceedings pertaining to Thornton small business initiatives or programs. Rather, I found myself seeking their opinions and perspective to truly make our programs better. Frankly, I affectionately refer to Councilmember Vigil as my city council Swiss Army knife because his prior employment and experience provided a depth of knowledge and seemed applicable in almost any setting. You know that, Val. And while we didn't serve together, Councilmember Matkowski, it would strike me equally baffling if anyone suggested that you be absent or recuse yourself from discussions pertaining to law enforcement. To the contrary, I would expect that your expertise, knowledge, and perspective on those issues would provide unique and valuable insight into any council conversation regarding law enforcement or the courageous men and women who serve in the Thornton Police Department. After all, isn't that the point? To bring valuable experience partnered with your passion and desire to serve the community dovetailed with the faith in your good judgment that the voters have bestowed upon each of you in every member of this council. So it is because of this personal experience watching firsthand how the council and the city benefited from the diverse and unique backgrounds of the members of council that I am disappointed to learn that a member of this council has been targeted by a recall effort based solely on a claim that her occupation represents a conflict of interest that prevents her from serving the Citizens Award 4 and the city of Thornton. To the contrary, it is my opinion that her expertise and experience will provide council, as so often was the case, with perspective and insight to make informed decisions. Recalls should be reserved for incompetence and gross negligence, not resumes. Frankly, as I've detailed, the intersection of city business with council member experience is inevitable, and more often than not, desirable. It is the duplicitous nature of this argument that motivated me to come speak tonight. It is as if we want our elected members of council to have meaningful experience in their background, except when we don't. And that may be grounds to disagree, but it isn't grounds to initiate a recall. Civil discourse is described as the language of dispassionate objectivity and suggests that it requires respect of all participants. It neither diminishes the other's moral worth, nor questions their good judgment. It avoids hostility, direct antagonism, or excessive persuasion, requires modesty and appreciation for the other participants' experiences. That is what I recall of my time on council and the differences in opinion or positions that we may have shared. Mutual respect and an appreciation for our experiences. So I would encourage you and even implore our council to continue engaging in good and productive civil discourse to the benefit of your communities, your wards, and our fair city. I would urge anyone paying attention to what's happening in our communities to refuse to sign any recall petitions or participate in any such effort based on what is currently being propped up as grounds for such an action. To close, this is a misapplication of an important and powerful tool. As you can remove the names and the partisan politics, and I'd be here to advocate the same position for any member of this council facing the same action. Thank you for your time.